Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, if you've got a sharp eye and a little bit of luck, you might be holding onto something truly extraordinary, a United States $quarter from 1776 to 1976. Now, before you shrug it off as just another old quarter, hold on tight, because this one could be hiding a secret that turns pocket change into a payday. Yes, we're talking about a coin that's not only rich in history but could also be worth a small fortune if it checks a few very rare boxes. This special quarter isn't just any coin. It was minted to celebrate the 200th birthday of the United States, the bicentennial. Instead of the usual eagle on the back, it proudly features a colonial drummer boy, standing at attention with a flame-lit torch of victory above him. That bold design isn't just patriotic, it's iconic. Underneath the word $quarter, you'll notice the dual date, 1776 to 1976, a detail that marks it as part of a once-in-a-lifetime minting event. These bicentennial quarters were minted in massive numbers, so finding one isn't hard. But what makes certain ones stand out, and potentially skyrocket in value, is a mix of rarity, condition, and unique minting errors. And that's where things get exciting. Let's start with the material. Most quarters from this era were made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. However, a limited number were struck in 40% silver, and even fewer were accidentally struck on the wrong planchet or had striking errors. These are the unicorns of the coin world. A double die error, for instance, where the design is accidentally stamped twice, can create a coin where the drummer's drumsticks appear to have a shadow, or where the dates look slightly doubled. These visual hiccups might seem like flaws, but for collectors, they're golden opportunities. Another factor? Condition. Coins that have never entered circulation, known as uncirculated or mint state coins, are in pristine condition with no scratches, no wear, and sharp, clear detail. These coins are the ones collectors chase after. Combine a rare error with mint condition, and now you're talking serious value. Collectors love stories, and this coin tells a great one. A nation celebrating its 200th year of independence, marking it with a design that's unique in U.S. coin history. And when you add a twist, like a rare silver strike or a dramatic mint error, it turns from a historical piece into a collector's dream. Now, here's the jaw-dropping part. Some of these rare bicentennial quarters, especially those with unique errors and in immaculate, uncirculated condition, have been appraised and sold for as much as $80,000. Yes, you heard that right. So, go check those old jars, dig through your childhood coin collection, or inspect the change in your pocket. That quarter with a drummer boy on the back might just be hiding a fortune. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most beloved coins, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you never miss another rare coin alert. Top 2. Because what might look like an ordinary quarter in your pocket could actually be a rare gem, a United States $quarter from the year 2021, featuring the powerful image of General George Washington crossing the Delaware River. Now, you might be thinking, 2021? That's way too recent to be worth anything. But let me stop you right there. This is no ordinary modern coin. The 2021 crossing the Delaware quarter is quickly becoming one of the most talked about pieces in the numismatic world, and some special versions of it are commanding jaw-dropping prices. You're going to want to hear every detail, because if you happen to own one of these rare versions, your small change could be worth big money. Let's start with the story behind the design. In 2021, the U.S. Mint closed out the long-running America the Beautiful Quarters program and brought back a fresh, bold design that honors a defining moment in American history, the daring nighttime crossing of the Delaware River by General George Washington and his Continental Army in 1776. This wasn't just a military maneuver, it was a moment of incredible bravery and resolve, and the design on the quarter captures that spirit. On the reverse of the coin, you'll see Washington standing tall, sword in hand, gazing forward as his troops row behind him. The image is dramatic, full of motion and meaning. On the obverse, Washington's portrait returns to its original, more traditional appearance, smaller and facing slightly left, unlike the more recent designs. It's a bold tribute to the nation's roots, and collectors took notice. Now, here's where things get really interesting. While millions of these quarters were minted for general circulation, not all coins are created equal. Some incredibly rare versions of the 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarter have appeared with unusual minting errors that make them stand out, and send their value soaring. Let's talk about some of those errors. Point 1 of the most valuable types is the die clash error, where parts of the coin's design appear in places they shouldn't, like faint images of Washington's profile on the back, or reverse elements bleeding through the front. These errors happen when the coin dies strike each other without a blank planchet between them, and they create ghost-like, overlapping designs that are totally unintentional, and totally fascinating to collectors. Then there are off-center strikes, where the entire design is shifted to one side, sometimes cutting off letters or details entirely. If a coin is misaligned just right, say, 10% to 20% off, and still clearly shows the key features, it can become extremely desirable. Add in double strikes, where the coin is struck more than once, or coins that were minted on the wrong metal planchet altogether, and you've got a recipe for rarity. But rarity alone isn't enough. What truly drives a coin's value through the roof is condition. A coin fresh from the mint, with no scratches, no wear, and full, crisp detail, is considered mint state or uncirculated. The best of the best are graded by professionals, sealed in tamper-proof holders, and given a grade on a 70-point scale. Coins that score 67, 68, or higher, especially if they also have a mint error, are the ones that light up auction houses and send collectors into a bidding frenzy. So what's the big deal with this specific quarter? Well, in recent months, a small number of the 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarters have been discovered with dramatic minting errors, and in nearly perfect condition. These coins are like lightning in a bottle, a perfect storm of scarcity, story, and sharp-eyed discovery. For collectors, it's not just about owning a piece of currency, it's about owning a piece of history with a flaw that makes it one of a kind. And now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. Believe it or not, one of these rare 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarters, featuring a unique mint error and preserved in near-perfect uncirculated condition, was recently valued at a staggering $78,000. Yes, $78,000. The next time you get change at the grocery store, or you're sorting through a forgotten jar of coins, don't overlook that shiny quarter with the powerful image of Washington crossing the river. It might just be the lucky break every collector dreams of. Top 3, we're diving into one of the most exciting coins to come out of recent years, the 2022 Maya Angelou quarter. Now you might be thinking, 2022? That's way too new to be valuable. But let me tell you, this coin isn't just a piece of modern money. It's a work of art, a cultural tribute, and for a lucky few, a hidden treasure that could be worth a fortune. Yes, you heard that right, this beautiful quarter was the very first coin released as part of the U.S. Mint's American Women Quarters program, celebrating the achievements and contributions of extraordinary women throughout American history. And who better to kick off such an iconic series than Maya Angelou, poet, memoirist, performer, activist, and true American legend. Let's take a closer look at this coin. On the obverse, we return to a bold, refreshed portrait of George Washington. But here's something cool, this version of Washington was actually sculpted by Laura Garden Fraser in 1931. Although it was originally passed over for the quarter back then, it's finally been given its rightful place, and it looks absolutely stunning. Flip the coin over, and the reverse is where the real magic happens. There she is, Maya Angelou, her arms uplifted gracefully, with a bird in flight and rays of sunlight behind her. The imagery draws from her poetry and her life, themes of freedom, strength, and the power of voice. It's more than a coin, it's a story in metal. Now, most of these coins were minted in large quantities and entered circulation like any other quarter. You'll find them in your change, in banks, in your pocket, but not all Maya Angelou quarters are created equal. And here's where collectors really start to get excited. You see, every once in a while, something goes wrong at the mint. A die misaligns, a coin is struck on the wrong planchet, or part of the design gets doubled. These minting errors are unintentional, but they are pure gold to collectors. Because the U.S. Mint holds such high standards, when an error does sneak through, it becomes instantly valuable due to its rarity. Let me walk you through some of the types of errors people have been discovering on the 2022 Maya Angelou quarters. There are doubled dies, where parts of the design, like the rays of sunlight or the feathers of the bird, appear slightly doubled, giving the coin a shadowed or 3D look. Then there are die cracks, where raised lines appear like lightning bolts across the surface of the coin. And one of the most intriguing? Quarters struck on a nickel or dime planchet, smaller metal blanks meant for other coins entirely. Imagine a Maya Angelou quarter that's missing parts of the design because it was never meant to be that size. That's a rare find right there, but here's the thing, it's not just about errors. Condition matters just as much. If your coin has never been circulated, shows no signs of wear, and has razor-sharp detail, it could be classified as mint state. Coins in MS-67, MS-68, and higher become incredibly desirable, especially when paired with an error or a rare variation. These are the coins that don't just sit in collections, they make headlines. Now you might ask, how rare can it really be? Well, out of millions of coins minted, only a tiny fraction contain those special mint errors. And of those, even fewer are preserved in top condition. Finding a coin that checks all the boxes, a rare error, perfect preservation, and powerful backstory, is like winning the coin collector's lottery, and that brings us to the moment you've been waiting for. One such Maya Angelou quarter, with a significant minting error and graded at a nearly flawless mint state, has recently been valued at an unbelievable $75,000, yes, $75,000 from your pocket, to a payday. So next time you're handed some change, don't just shove it into your wallet or a jar on the shelf. Take a good look. You might be holding more than just 25 cents, you might be holding history, culture, and possibly a fortune in the palm of your hand. Top 4. We're going back to the early 80s to take a closer look at a coin you might have walked past 100 times without realizing what it could be worth, the United States $quarter from 1981. Now before you toss that coin in a vending machine or forget about it in your drawer, listen closely, because that ordinary-looking 1981 quarter might just be hiding something rare. Something unusual. And in some very special cases, something incredibly valuable. Let's rewind a bit and talk about why the 1981 quarter is more than just an old coin. First, the basics. The obverse of the 1981 quarter features the familiar profile of George Washington, the face of U.S. quarters since 1932. The reverse shows the iconic bald eagle with wings outstretched, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, a symbol of strength and peace. Nothing unusual there, right? But here's where things get interesting. 1981 was a year when the U.S. Mint was producing coins for both circulation and collectors. Quarters were struck at multiple mint facilities: Philadelphia, No Mint Mark; Denver, D Mint Mark; and San Francisco, S Mint Mark. While most were regular circulation coins, a smaller number were made as proof coins, highly detailed coins struck multiple times using polished dies and specially prepared planchets for collectors. And as with all coinage, mistakes can happen. But in the world of numismatics, those mistakes are like gold. One of the most intriguing things about 1981 quarters is that several rare mint errors and die varieties have been discovered, and these are the coins that collectors lose sleep over. For example, some 1981 quarters exhibit double die errors, where parts of the design, like the word liberty or the motto, "In God We Trust," appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. These doubled features may seem subtle to the average person, but to a trained eye, and especially in mint state condition, they're worth a serious premium. Other rare errors include off-center strikes, where the design is noticeably shifted, or clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to an incomplete blank. And perhaps most exciting of all, transitional errors, coins accidentally struck on planchets meant for different years or denominations. These are exceptionally rare, but if found, they can turn a common coin into a showpiece worth thousands. But wait, it doesn't stop at errors. What truly elevates the value of any coin, especially one like the 1981 quarter, is condition. Coins that have been kept untouched, straight from the mint or proof sets, with no scratches, marks, or discoloration, can earn a professional grade of MS-67 or even MS-68. These are called mint state coins, and they represent the absolute best of the best. Combine mint condition with a rare error, and now you're holding something very special. Collectors love the 1981 quarter because it sits at the edge of two important eras: the end of the traditional eagle reverse design, which would change a decade later with the state quarters, and the closing years of an older minting style. These small differences, combined with low survival rates for pristine examples and the possibility of errors, make this a sleeper coin that's gaining more attention every year. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, one extremely rare 1981 quarter, with a dramatic minting error and certified in mint state condition, was recently valued at a staggering $57,000. Yes, that's right, $57,000. So the next time you're sorting through your coin jar or you get some change from the store, don't ignore that old quarter from 1981. Examine it closely. Look for doubling. Check the edges. See if anything looks unusual. Because that ordinary coin could be your extraordinary find. Top 5, we're going to talk about a coin that might be sitting right in your pocket or buried deep in your coin jar, the United States $quarter from 1971. But hold on, this isn't just any old quarter. This 1971 coin could be hiding a serious treasure, and you won't believe just how valuable it could be. Stick around because, by the end of this video, you'll understand why this seemingly ordinary coin might be worth $68,000. Now, let's take a trip back to 1971. The country was in the midst of a decade full of change, with social movements, economic shifts, and a rapidly evolving culture. In terms of coinage, the 1971 quarter marked an important transition in U.S. minting history. This was the first year that the new, smaller-sized quarter was minted. That's right, folks, before 1971, quarters were actually a little bit larger in diameter. The size change was part of a larger effort to save costs on coin production, and the 1971 quarter became the new standard for future U.S. quarters. On the front, the 1971 quarter features the classic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. It's a timeless image, representing the first president of the United States. On the reverse, you'll find the eagle, a symbol of strength and freedom. The design had been in place for many years, but the key detail is that this was one of the final quarters struck with this reverse before the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. While many of these 1971 quarters are still floating around in everyday circulation, not all of them are the same. In fact, the 1971 quarter is often overlooked by collectors, but that's where things get really interesting. You see, certain errors and rarities have surfaced over the years that make this coin far more valuable than you might expect. The 1971 quarter is known for some very interesting minting errors. The most exciting among them are double die errors, where part of the design is duplicated, typically the word liberty or the phrase, "In God We Trust." This happens when the coin die is struck twice in slightly different positions, causing the design to appear twice on the same coin. While these errors may look subtle to the untrained eye, for collectors, they are a goldmine. The more pronounced the doubling, the more valuable the coin. Another rare error that collectors watch for is off-center strikes. These occur when a coin is misaligned during the minting process, causing the design to be shifted to one side of the coin, sometimes leaving part of the design off completely. These off-center errors are more commonly found on older coins, but 1971 quarters are not immune to them. If you happen to find a quarter with a noticeable off-center strike, you could be sitting on a highly prized piece. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1971 quarter is its minting history. A portion of these coins were produced at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, while others came from the Denver Mint with a D mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark on their coins for most of the 1970s, so any coin that doesn't show a D is automatically from Philadelphia. However, some collectors place a higher value on the Denver coins because of their more limited production, making the 1971 D quarter a bit more desirable in certain cases. But let's talk about condition for a moment. Like any collectible, the value of a 1971 quarter is heavily influenced by its grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect, mint state condition. A quarter that has been well preserved, without scratches or wear, and still shows sharp, clear details, could be worth much more than one that's been circulating for decades. And here's where things get really interesting for you, the collector. If you happen to find a 1971 quarter with one of those rare errors, and it's in mint condition, you're holding something special. Not all of these coins survived in perfect condition, which is why collectors are always on the lookout for the best preserved examples with minting mistakes. The combination of rarity, error, and condition is what drives the value through the roof. And now, for the big reveal. If you happen to own a 1971 quarter with a well-known error and it's in excellent condition, it could be worth an astonishing $68,000. Yes, you heard that right. $68,000. Imagine finding that in your pocket change. So, the next time you get your hands on a 1971 quarter, don't just toss it aside. Take a good look. Check for any errors, examine its condition, and see if it might be one of those rare gems that could be worth a small fortune. You just never know, it might be your lucky day. Top 6, we're diving into a quarter that might just be sitting in your change jar right now, the 1996 United States quarter dollar. If you're thinking it's just another ordinary coin from the 90s, think again. You may be holding a rare, highly sought-after piece of American history, with a value that could surprise you. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know just how valuable this seemingly simple quarter could be, with some coins fetching up to $54,000. Let's take a moment to step back into 1996. It was a time of change and progress for the U.S., both culturally and economically. The country was in the middle of the Clinton presidency, and the economy was booming. But what about our coins? The 1996 quarter wasn't just any typical release. In fact, it marked an important year for U.S. coinage, and while many were casually circulating at the time, it holds a special place in the hearts of collectors today. The 1996 quarter features the familiar image of George Washington on the obverse, a portrait that has been on U.S. quarters since 1932. This version of Washington, designed by John Flanagan, represents a symbol of American strength and leadership. On the reverse side, we see the American bald eagle, perched on a bundle of arrows, holding an olive branch. It's a traditional and timeless design that has been part of the quarter's reverse for decades. However, what makes the 1996 quarter stand out from the rest of the pack isn't the design itself, but the potential hidden value behind it. Over the years, a number of rare and unique features have made certain 1996 quarters highly coveted by collectors. And we're not just talking about coins with some wear and tear. We're talking about those with minting errors, special characteristics, and rare variations that set them apart from the hundreds of millions of other quarters that were minted that year. One of the biggest factors that drives the value of the 1996 quarter is the occurrence of double die errors. This is when the coin's design is struck twice, causing the lettering and images to appear doubled. The most common double die errors on the 1996 quarter involve the word liberty or in God we trust. These errors occur when the die is misaligned during the minting process, causing a slight duplication of the design. To the untrained eye, it might not seem like much, but to coin collectors, it's a significant error that can drastically increase the value of the coin. Another important feature that collectors keep an eye out for is off-center strikes. These happen when a coin is not properly aligned on the press during the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off or shifted. An off-center 1996 quarter can be a rare find, especially when it's still in good condition. If the strike is off by a significant amount, this type of error can push the value of the coin into higher territory. The rarer the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. Beyond minting errors, another factor that contributes to the value of the 1996 quarter is its condition. In the world of coin collecting, the term grade refers to the overall condition of the coin, and it plays a major role in determining value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A 1996 quarter that has been well preserved, with little to no signs of wear and tear, can command a much higher price than one that has been circulating for years and shows significant damage. A well-preserved coin, with sharp details and a high grade, can attract collectors who are willing to pay top dollar to complete their collection. But it's not just about errors and condition. some 1996 quarters have unique characteristics that make them more desirable. For example, proof coins were also minted that year, produced in small quantities for collectors. Proof coins are struck with a special process that gives them a mirror-like finish, making them much shinier and more visually appealing than regular circulation coins. These proof versions of the 1996 quarter can sometimes fetch a higher price, especially when they come with original packaging or certificates of authenticity. Now, let's get to the moment that you've all been waiting for. We've been talking about the rare features and potential value of the 1996 quarter, but you're probably wondering just how much one of these coins is worth. Well, if you happen to find a 1996 quarter in exceptional condition, and it has a rare minting error, such as a double die or off-center strike, it could be worth an incredible $54,000. Yes, you heard me right. $54,000. For a single quarter. So, before you toss that 1996 quarter into your change jar or hand it off at the store, take a good look at it. You never know if you've got one of these rare, highly valuable coins hiding in your pocket. As always, make sure to inspect your coins carefully, especially if you're a collector. The world of numismatics is filled with hidden gems waiting to be discovered, and sometimes those gems can be found in the most unexpected places. Top 7, and last rare coin, we're diving deep into a coin that's often overlooked, the 1995 United States quarter dollar. This coin may seem like just another typical quarter, but trust me, if you've got one of these sitting in your collection or change jar, you might be sitting on a real treasure. Now, let's start with the basics. The 1995 quarter is part of the classic Washington quarter series, which features George Washington's profile on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan. It's the iconic image that's been a hallmark of U.S. quarters since 1932. On the reverse, you'll find the image of a majestic eagle, its wings spread wide, grasping both arrows and an olive branch, symbols of strength and peace. A design that's been in use for decades, representing the enduring spirit of the United States. But what sets the 1995 quarter apart from the rest? Well, despite being part of the regular minting run, this particular year holds some special secrets, and these secrets are what make it so intriguing to collectors. One of the key things to understand about coin collecting is that some coins just don't survive the test of time in the best condition. The 1995 quarter was no different. Millions were minted and circulated in the typical manner. But not all coins are created equal. Over the years, some quarters have been found with minting errors, die varieties, and unique features that make them much rarer than others. Let's take a closer look at the kind of errors that make the 1995 quarter a standout. The most notable among them is the double die error. This happens when a coin die is struck twice during the minting process, causing part of the design to appear doubled. You might see this doubling on the word liberty or on the motto, "In God We Trust." While these doubled features are subtle to the untrained eye, they can make a huge difference in value for collectors. The more pronounced the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. A single error coin can turn a regular quarter into a prized possession, often fetching a significant amount at auctions or from interested buyers. But it's not just double die errors that make the 1995 quarter valuable. Another error that collectors are particularly keen on is the off-center strike. This occurs when the quarter is struck improperly, causing the design to be shifted off-center. In some cases, this results in a portion of the coin's design being missing entirely. Off-center strikes are extremely rare and can drastically increase the value of the coin, especially if they are prominent and easily identifiable. If you happen to find one of these misstruck quarters in your collection, you could be holding a coin that's far more valuable than its face value. Another interesting feature of the 1995 quarter is its mintage variety. While the Philadelphia Mint produced the vast majority of these coins without a mint mark, the Denver Mint produced them with a D mint mark, indicating they were struck in Denver. Typically, the D mint mark coins are more desirable for collectors, given the more limited production from the Denver facility. But regardless of the mint mark, it's the condition of the coin that can really push its value into the stratosphere. In the world of numismatics, the condition of a coin is absolutely crucial. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. If you happen to have a 1995 quarter that has been well preserved and is graded in mint state, meaning it has sharp details, no signs of wear, and minimal scratches, you could be holding a valuable treasure. The higher the grade, the more the coin is worth. A pristine, uncirculated 1995 quarter could fetch a price far higher than one that has been heavily circulated, but wait, there's more. As with any coin, proof versions of the 1995 quarter were also minted, though in much smaller numbers. These proof coins were struck with a special process that gives them a mirror-like finish, making them stand out from their regular circulation counterparts. These coins are often highly sought after by collectors who want to complete their sets. The 1995 proof quarter is no exception, and if you have one in flawless condition, it could increase the overall value of your collection. Now, you might be wondering, just how much could this 1995 quarter be worth? If you've got a 1995 quarter with one of these rare errors, whether it's a double die, an off-center strike, or simply one in mint condition, it could be worth a lot more than the typical quarter. In fact, one of these special quarters could be valued at an astounding $57,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $57,000 for a 1995 quarter. If you're lucky enough to have one of these rare quarters in your possession, make sure you keep it safe and consider getting it professionally graded. You might just be holding a small fortune in your hands, so the next time you get a handful of change, don't just toss that 1995 quarter aside. Take a closer look. Examine it for any errors, check its condition, and see if you've got a rare gem on your hands. It might just be worth far more than you could ever imagine. Thanks for watching, coin lovers. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell to stay updated on all our latest discoveries. Keep searching, stay curious, and as always, happy collecting.